What's mindset? People wonder what mindset is. Mindset is a set of beliefs. It's real simple. A set of beliefs that determine your attitudes, actions, and outcomes. That's mindset. A set of beliefs. We are belief driven. Right in the middle of that word, belief, is L-I-E, lie, right? And some of our beliefs, it's real simple. Some of our beliefs are just flat out lies. They are. And things we've been taught about our model of the world, how we see the world and the people in it, and then ourselves, that are just not true. And some of the things that are true, they need to be rewired. It's like cancer now in here. So I got to take that stuff out. It's got to be removed. And so then I got to replace it with some thoughts and then repetitively practice those thoughts until they become beliefs. Yes, a belief is a feeling of certainty. That's what a belief is, a feeling of certainty. Yes. There's other ways to describe it, but that's one of them, a feeling of certainty. Yes. Yep,
Love, lovely. You have basically unlearned what did not serve you
yep,
and replaced it with what does.
absolutely. I think we have to do that along the way as your model of the world changes and as people change and
Well, first we have to recognize what does not serve us.
yes. And where it's coming from, because some people, like some beliefs that our parents taught us that may have been true back then, but aren't true now. Maybe they don't even believe those things now, but I still do because in my subconscious, you taught us that when we grew up. Maybe those things aren't true. And then some people struggle with the removal of those ideas because they feel like, well, see, my parents taught me that, and I love, love, love my parents. So if I go against what they taught me, aren't I betraying them? And it's like, no. No, you're not betraying them. You're simply finding a better belief system that works for you. Maybe they don't believe those things. Maybe they passed on and you can't ask them, do they still believe those things? Right? So it really doesn't require them, it requires you. Because what if they're gone? What if you can't go knock on their door and say, can I talk to you for a minute, Mom? Can I talk to you for a minute, Dad? Right? About this thing. And so I have to find my own resolve sometimes.
Very well said, Mike. Thank you. Because they want the best for you anyway.
I believe
So,
so. If I'm not being cynical, if I'm not being, man, your parents sometimes, but if I'm not blaming my parents like I used to, then I choose, I decide to believe that, they did love me and they did care and that they were doing the best that they could at that time based on their level of awareness.
I love what you just said. I decide and choose to believe because that's up here.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Thank you for saying that. Next quote: patience and humility, that's where your real power is.
Yeah. So another word for patience is long suffering. Long suffering. Now I know suffering sounds like but I'm not talking about suffering in the body, but from the neck down. I'm saying long suffering here. So it's patience. Is like waiting, but I put feet to my patience. I don't just sit at home and just say, man, I'm just waiting on them, right? It's like, no, I put feet to my patience while I wait. I'm waiting, but I'm actively waiting. And that's true patience, right? So I'm waiting actively. So I'm getting up in the morning. I'm taking care of myself physically because, of course, we've heard it from a gazillion different people, I'm sure. But if I lose my health, right, then I may, be bedridden. I may be bed stricken. Now I got to sit and hope and pray that this ailment goes away so I can at least get up and get back on my feet. So if I have that going for me, I can get out of bed, reasonable usage of my mind. And if I can activate some gratitude every day for those things, great. Then it's a joyful patience, right? As I'm able to get up and work towards the goal, not just sit at home and wait, but to actually work toward it. right? And then humility, right? Even humility when you're not on the mountaintop yet, because you're not on a mountaintop, but some people's belief is so strong that they will be there. To them, they're already in their mountaintop experience. It's like, I've already manifested it. You ain't gonna look up and see me up there just yet, but I already see myself up there, right? I just got to keep climbing. I already know it's going to happen. So even before I reach the destination, I still need to have humility, because along the way, I don't want to use people or look down on people because I know where I'm going and you don't, right? And then, ruin relationships along the way. And then when I get to the mountaintop, then, I've kind of spent everybody up. And now, it's not a place of solitude, but it's a sense of isolation. It's like I have all these things, but then I don't have anybody to celebrate it with, right? Or now I look like or appear to be a terrible person because of, how I got here, right? So no matter, I want to keep the people along the way and on the mountaintop. I want to take some of those people with me. Now, some of the people are going to fall off along the way.
Hmm.
They're
Yep.
boosters. When a rocket ship, and I'm looking to buy a rocket ship, but when a rocket ship takes off, it has boosters on it, and it elevates so high, and then the boosters fall off, right? This is natural
Yes.
because some people are there to, they're not haters, but they're elevators. They are there to help push you to the top. A good coach, a good teacher, a good mentor. Some of them are only for a season. And then some of them, well, whether if we want to call it fall off, because it seems to be like a negative way of explaining that. But some are like, okay, you're along the way. And then they separate and they go back to the surface so they can help boost someone else, right? So we must remain humble, right? Have patience in the beginning, must have the belief. We must ask ourselves, like, why wouldn't it happen? I'm going to do this and that and so whatever the goals are, right? Okay, why not? Like, why wouldn't that happen? And if a person believes, because see the white man and see all the stuff that the media teaches, okay, then you have to prove that then. What white man or whomever people blame is going to come knock on your door, right? People say, yeah, but there's so much racism. Guess what? Right? I know here in America, if it's all about racism, then how come there are black people that are very successful, right? How come there are white people that aren't? How come there's white people that are what they call little names and trailer this and so on, right? And poor white this and that. How come the upside of racism didn't save them since they're so superior? No, it's just how we use what's available to us, right? How we view ourselves first, right? How I'm going to add value, right? The people you want to network with anyway, they're not looking at your skin color. They're looking at if anything, some are looking for the upside of you. How can we join together so we can elevate? And then some are just like, hey, I just want to help somebody, right? It still actually elevates them psychologically that they were able to help somebody today. Yes, I have billions in the bank and I'm the richest person in the history of mankind and I don't want anything, but I still need to feel that I fill a space in this world and that I can add value to somebody else's life. That's why, people rag on rich people and all this, but they're still charitable. They still do things, and not just for tax write-offs, but they're still very charitable. It's like I gotta express and show love and caring and sincerity and kindness to someone, right? So that's my take on being patient. Because see, with patience, the reason many people don't succeed, they get bored too fast. We're used to a paycheck that pays us. We're used to a payoff in no more than 2 weeks, right? And when you start your own business, and to me, acting is starting your own business, you're not going to get a payoff in 2 weeks. I doubt it. And most people are payoff in 2 weeks minded. So when they're not getting that paycheck, because that's what they're programmed, man. I start this new job. When do you get paid? Every week or every 2 weeks? No, we get paid every 2 weeks. See, they're used to a payoff in a couple of weeks. You start your own business, man, it could take months to see a payoff. It could take years, right? So people get bored. They think it's supposed to, man, I want to see some feedback. I teach my actors. You can't say, if I ain't, there's goals and then there's objectives. There's a difference between a goal and an objective. A goal is something that you have 100% control over, right? This New Year's is coming. What's people's goal? I'm going to lose 20 pounds, right? Is what they say. All things being equal, there's no one to stop you from doing that but you, right? If you see all the gyms are closed, it's COVID, right? Then you could walk on the street. That's what we did. We walk up and down oh, it was crazy, right? Very challenging walking uphill, right? It's crazy, right? A goal is something you have 100% control over. What are you doing this weekend? Oh man, I'm cleaning out my garage. It's so bad in there. Nobody's going to knock on my door and say, don't go in your garage. No, a goal is something you have 100% control over. An objective is something where other people are involved, right? I need somebody else to green light me. I can't always build a door. If the door ain't there, build a door and turn the knob and go in. No, I can build a door, but I still need, in many situations, objectively speaking, someone to open a door for me, right? So I got to network. It takes people. That's why a lot of actors quit, because they're taught goals only and sub goals. I got this goal. What's your goal? And if in 2 years I don't have a sitcom, I'm a quit, right? And then 2 years expire and they still don't have a sitcom. And so they see, no, because the experts told me, have a goal and have a deadline. And if you don't hit the deadline, then you're supposed to go in it. See, it's like, no, that a goal is something you have 100% control over. An objective is something where, yes, I have what I can do. I can call those goals, but overall it's an objective. And I need other people to help me with this, right? I can't make Paramount Pictures or whomever, right? I can't make them say yes to me. I have to strategically, right, find my way to the people that can greenlight me. And that could be a journey. I'm not going to quit, but that could be a journey. We hear all the stories. John Hamm about to quit his career. He had been doing it 10 years. And he said, I'm quitting this week. I'm done with acting. I don't even make enough money to pay my bills. And that week alone, Mad Men called him. They said, you auditioned for Mad Men 4 months ago. And now we've made up our mind. The project's been greenlit. You're the lead. It changed his whole life. But that week he was going to quit. Now you would think 10 years is long enough. I'm done. Nope. He was 3 feet from gold, as Mr. Napoleon Hill used to speak on. 3 feet from
Oh,
gold. Yes. Yep.
yes. Napoleon Hill. I wanted to ask you whether you had any particular mentor or somebody who influenced your.
Yes, it's several of them. And then I have
Would
my
you?
my latest. The first one, it's undeniable. Brian Tracy.
Of
He's
course,
undeniable, right?
of course.
I ran into a guy that I used to go to high school with, and we liked the same girl. And I ended up getting the girl, right? And then so Waldo, he couldn't stand me. For years, we played on the same basketball team. We had to compete for the same position and all this stuff. Waldo couldn't stand me. And I started teaching my class in the year 2000. And I went to Staples Center and saw a speaker there named Tom Peters. He's a business coach. I don't even know if Tom's still alive, right? Because it was a while ago. And I think he was maybe in his 60s then. Maybe he is still alive. And I ran into Waldo. Mm-mm. And I was happy to see him because, I started losing my high school classmates early after high school. And so I saw Waldo and I was like, hey, man, what's up? And he's like, hey, Mike, how you doing? And I said, what are you doing there? He said, well, I work for American Express. So, we had to come to this. I said, you didn't pay for it? He said, no, they gave us tickets. And he said, hey, and he walked me to my car and he said, what are you up to these days? I said, I teach commercials. And he said, oh, I want to do commercials. I always wanted to. And he ended up taking my course actually. But he said, have you ever heard of a man named Jim Rohn? Jim Rome. I said,
Oh,
no, well, yeah, I heard of Jim Rome, the sports guy. He said, no, 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 not Romy. He said, Jim Rohn. I said, no. And he gave me a little cassette tape and I listened to it on the way home. And he also recommended another great one is Brian Tracy. And I got addicted to both, right? And I was like, wow, that got me started. And then I was introduced to Earl Nightingale, right, which is the
yes.
dean of personal development, as many say. And then all from there, just Zig Ziglar, Les Brown. My main one right now is Myron Golden, Dr. Myron Golden. He's just amazing. Tony Robbins, of course. I didn't mean to leave him out. Oh my.
But Jim Rohn actually was Tony Robbins'
That's
mentor,
right.
actually.
That's
So
right.
it,
And Jim Rohn's mentor was Earl Schoaf. Earl
yes.
Schoaf. Yes, he Earl Schoaf got Jim started, and then Tony Robbins went to work for Jim Rohn when he do those seminars in San Diego or something. And so that's that. In fact, I'm about to do a little YouTube thing, and I have all my cassettes from them. All my
Lovely,
cassettes.
I
It's a
can't
bunch of
wait.
programs. They're little the cassettes back from the cassette day. And I gotta get rid of them. I'll probably donate them to the library. But I just want to show people like where I'm coming from because there's a lot of like new YouTube people that, and some are legit and some are just like kind of not so legit, but I want people to know this is where I'm grounded. And these people, way back in when I turned my car into a university on wheels, right? I just listen to cassettes, turn the music off, cassette, cassette, cassette,
Yeah.
right?
Well,
Beautiful
listen,
thing. I love these people. Yes.
thank you for sharing that. Very inspiring. Open quote. Don't copy, model. End
Yes.
quote.
Yes. So when I first started acting, I was like, man, I'm gonna be just like Blair Underwood. Because he was huge back then. He was even bigger than Denzel in 85, 86, because he was on Law and Order. Denzel was on St. Elsewhere, but he wasn't like in the spotlight. So I said, a couple of people I was modeling myself after. Well, wanting to emulate, I'll say, again, it was Blair Underwood and Mario Van Peebles. They were like huge. And there was another guy, Don Franklin, which I'm happen to be, friends with, and he gives me advice on certain stuff, right? And so I'm seeing them. And Blair, especially when I had hair, we had a strong resemblance to each other. And but when I got to Hollywood, I got discouraged because people was like, "Oh man, you look just like Blair Underwood," and they already got a Blair, so they don't need no more Blair Underwood. You kind of got a little bit of Mario going on, but mainly Blair. And so I felt like I wasn't unique. I was like, "Oh, they already have a Blair Underwood, so I may as well pack my bags and go back home." But then I said, "But no, no." And then I met Blair at my church. Actually, very nice man. He's great, right? But then I've always been some kind of character. I have, and I feel kind of unmatched in who I've always been. I've always seeked the spotlight, you know, never really into when I'm shy. I'm shy. I used to be scared to approach girls, but a lot of boys go through that, right? When I was a kid. But as far as like being this public person, spotlight, I've always loved it. And so I learned through auditioning because at first I used to watch other guys and I'd try to copy them and I'd fall flat on my face. So I said to myself, Mike, it's not about copying people. It's about kind of modeling some of their behaviors. Just don't copy, but model, right? Some of the even the way they'd enter the room, they would enter the audition room and they walk in the room, hey everybody, hi, how y'all doing? And I'd sit and I'd watch and I'd say, oh, so they're like natural, calm. They make friends with their so-called competition. And so I learned, and as I learned from my business coaches as well, no need to copy, just model some of their success patterns, not their personality or behaviors, their isms, but some of their success patterns. Yes.